Hello and welcome back to this week's Bible verse. This week we are going to be in Psalms, and we're going to be in Psalms 18:2. And I thought this was a really good one. I got this one this morning. I had another one planned for today, but this one was really good. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. So I wrote some notes on this. The observation is God's protection is limitless. And the reason I realized that in this verse he is limitless is because pretty much anywhere you go, there's rocks, giving the idea that it's limitless. So anywhere you go, you're going to find his protection. God's protection is limitless and can take many forms. 1, God is like a rock that can't be moved by any who would try to harm us. So that's why they're talking about it in the way of a rock, because when rocks are put somewhere by God, especially me, I've been to like these big boulders in the Joshua tree, and when you see those boulders, you think about this verse, it's incredible because you think about like those boulders, they can't be moved. They're so big. I mean, the average man can't move them. This verse says, God is like a rock that can't be moved by any who would try to harm us. Number 2, God is like a fortress, a place of safety. Where the enemy can't follow us, we are high above our enemies. So when we are behind that rock or those rocks that are protecting us, they're like a fortress. And that's what God does in our lives. He protects us from the evil people behind these spiritual boulders that he puts in front of us. The next one, number 3, God is a shield that comes between us in harm. So when somebody's trying to harm us, those rocks shield us from those, like those arrows they could be throwing at us. We have to remember that we are protected by the Word of God, and all of this is based on the Word of God. So if you're not reading the Word of God, you're not going to understand God's protection and how they're using the word rock here, because the Word of God is our rock. It's what we stand on, like a rock. God is power that saves us with his might. Look to God for protection. So for everything that you do, the Word of God is your protection. When you're believing and trusting in his word and you know he's working in your life, you know, sometimes we fear things when they first come at us, we fear, but we have to hold strong and remember that this verse, Psalm 18:2, tells us that God is what we need to hold on to. Hold on to the fact that even though we got the bad news or something rocked us, we have to stand firm and say, okay, God is my fortress. He's going to take care of this for me. Or I'm sitting behind here waiting for God to tell me when to come out so that I can attack my enemies. And all through the Bible, I got to tell you something. I've been reading the Bible, and I'm way ahead of all of you guys from my Bible study. And I just see so many things in there that make so much sense, and why the world is taking us in a different way from the way of the Bible, and all of these churches that have been deceiving us. And I'm one of them because I was raised Catholic and I went to Catholic school, but then I went to non-denominational. I went to Calvary Chapel, and I still feeling a void there. And it wasn't until I really started to study the Bible and read the Bible and know the Bible is when I really understood what I was missing in my life. And it wasn't going to come from somebody's commentary in front of a pulpit. It wasn't going to come from somebody telling me something or their version of it. It was for me really sitting down and reading the Word and reading the Bible and reading the stories and understanding who God is and why they're trying to deceive so many people. So in this time, especially now that we are walking into a lot of uncertain times with a lot of wickedness that wants to come back into the world, because we had a really wicked time, I tell you that this is the kind of psalm verse that you want to read it often, have it somewhere where you can come back to it and understand these traits about God. That he is your rock, that he is your place of safety, and he is your shield in all times. And with that said, I just want to remind you that I still have pending my Armor of God video that I did a first part last year. I just finished writing up the second part. It's going to be a little bit more descriptive and a little bit more visual than the last part. So stay tuned for that, because that one's getting prepared. Also, this week we're going to be doing in the Bible study a review of Genesis, and another topic that I want to touch on that you might have been a little bit confused in my last video, which was about the end of Genesis and the tribes. So I want to clear that up coming up this week. And of course, I also have Genesis that I know some people are skeptical about the story of Genesis and what it involves. I've been doing extensive studies on Genesis, and I want to go back and touch on that subject because it's really important. I have to make sure that you understand, and you know, you can choose what you want to understand from that, but I want to make sure that I open your eyes and tell you the things that God is putting in my heart to tell you. I want to show you the scriptures, and I want to also give you additional reading. That way, if you want to go and find out about, you can go and do that. So there's a lot of things coming up on the channel. Stay tuned. I'm really excited to do all of that for you. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. God bless you. And I'll see you back here on Sunday for my Bible study. Bye-bye.